Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, and it looks like we're going to be a little glitchy. So, this might be a short video, but I welcome you all with the greatest of intent, with the honor and blessings of the universe. And I greet you all with blessings from the universe, and I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will accept and receive the healings, the blessings from the universe, and that you will continue to share those things with other folk. Now, the title of this particular video is just spring cleaning, basically, but in spring cleaning, it could mean a lot of things. And talking about spring cleaning of the mind and of the spirit and of the soul. And what does spring cleaning mean to you? Well, spring cleaning to me means getting rid of stuff that should have been took care of before and haven't and should. And so, therefore, I have. And we all find things in our life that we need to do better at, or sometimes people get to doing too much of one thing, and that can be a bad thing. In other words, super cleaning, not being able to sit down and rest, or in my case, sitting down and resting too much and needing to do more cleaning. So, but the idea though that spring cleaning is um, clearing out stuff that you just honestly, and that's probably one of the biggest things, is to be honest with yourself and say, listen, I don't need this crud anymore. Now, I've spoken other videos about, and I'll repeat it here, as it's been a while since I've used this terminology, but um, the old timers around here used to pick cotton with it by hand and with a big, large gunny sack. In other words, a large your burlap bag. Big suckers they were. And so they drag this cotton bag down through the fields. Well, the old thing was you always emptied your bag. You never carried it down the next row. You always emptied it. So the old timers would say, if you got something that's bothering you, dump it at the end of the row. Don't keep hauling it down. Don't if you get to the end of the road, dump your sack out. Otherwise, you're going to have to. It's really going to be tough. Another row to hoe. So, but anyway, with that though, there are a lot of things in our lives, whether we actually can perceive them or not. Sometimes we just think, well, that's my idiosyncrasy. I'm just like that. Well, do you have to be that way? In other words, maybe, just maybe, you can say, well, I was really cranky with that person last time I chatted with them. And I realized that maybe I shouldn't have been so cranky, for whatever reason. Well, they said something and it pissed me off. And, but maybe, just maybe, I've got a couple of people in mind when they've had conversations. It's like you could have chose some different words. You could have got your point across. You could have let them know how you felt, but you could have chose some different words possibly. It wouldn't have set the thing off. But okay, people are still learning. So, but in spring cleaning of the mind, you have to find those things. And I'm always being introspective. I'm an old geezer and I got time to reflect. But I also is like recently, like for example, January the 19th was a big day for me in a way because it was the day that I was adopted. And it's a birthday of sorts. Um, and I realized that every time this year I get melancholy and a little something, but also let me give you this little tidbit of information concerning Chinese New Year and guess what? The new moon, January 2020. Crazy mood swings. The new moon on Friday, January 24th, yesterday, almost 2 days ago now. Aquarius is square in Uranus. What? This is a sign of unexpected changes, unpredictable behavior, and crazy mood swings. This is a sign of unexpected changes, unpredictable behavior, and crazy mood swings. Yippee! We're all having a good time now. Now, the next other thing in line is the Chinese New Year, and it was today. Actually, this is Sunday here in the Eastern Time Zone. Um, but it's this day is the new moon day of the first Chinese lunar month in the Chinese lunar calendar system, and it would happen to be yesterday in China's time zone. Um, this year is the year of the rat, and rats and dragons get along. Okay, I would have thought that dragons would have ate rats, but we won't go there. Rat years are believed to be the most unlucky for people born in previous years of the rat. Interesting. But of all things, according to the Chinese 12-year animal zodiac cycle, um, Chinese New Year beginning in 2020 is the year of the rat. Supposedly that's the one that started it. Rat was the first in line, and anyway, so it actually ends on February the 8th. It's almost a 2 week um, festival in China. So, I really like their idea of a new year, lasting 2 weeks, like, wow, what a celebration. But here's the thing, that regardless of what your sign is, and New Year brings those things to some of us, and basically it's like, hey everybody, Gerald, how are you? Millie Cow, Breaking Dawn as always. Happy late birthday. Oh yeah. Oh, Breaking Dawn had a birthday. Um, yeah, and she didn't say anything to me, but happy birthday, Breaking Dawn. Um, so, but of all the things that go through folks' lives and things are that, what do we wish to carry forward into the next year? Or what do we want to change? Now, like for me, I'm trying my best to, slow down my smoking, and I will, and I have not as much as I'd like to, but still working on it. But to the point though, a lot of other things that I said, well, at the first of the year, I really want to make a change, or I want to do some more, blah, 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 and success. And a friend came by the other day and said, wow, I can really see the change. That's a good thing. Now, that's good for spring cleaning. For me personally, it's things that I needed to take care of a long time ago. And it's been a long time coming in trying to get my brain to work right again in taking care of things. Although they're small steps, I'm getting there. And I refuse to give up, and it's showing. So every step is in the step in the right direction. But the thing is that every time I go out to deal with a problem or something like that, it's like I was cutting a tree limb out here that got way out of whack, needed to be gone so I can finish some foundation work on the front porch slash greenhouse. And the handle on my big D wall busted again. I mean, like just tore loose, and I'm like, what? So anyway, just something else to try to get in your way and tick you off. But the thing is, I put it down, and where before I'd have been kicking the dirt and screaming and hollering and and acting out. I wasn't real happy with it, but I put it in a case, and I cussed a little bit. I won't, debate that, or try to, get away from that one. But the thing is, I'm like, well, okay, here we go again. Something else to break while you're trying to do something good. Set you back a little bit. That's okay. I went to use a foot adze that I usually use for digging and stuff. What happened? It broke the head off. Needs a new wooden handle. But I found the another one that I had fixed that actually worked kind of better. So in a certain way, it's like, well, every time I turned around, something tried to aggravate me, and I refused to let it do so. And so it's like, well, all right. there goes another one, another little chore to do for around the house. Like there isn't it. I don't have enough to do. But in that though, yeah, it frustrated me, but I just looked around and said, okay, I got plenty other tools. What else do I got? Ooh, here goes one. This will work. And so, merrily onward we go. But I could have let it. It would have been a stopping point at some point in the past for me. So in my going forward with this and cleaning out my mental junk, that kind of stuff I have to put aside. Can't let that kind of thing bother me anymore. And just, oh, well, let's go. We'll find another handle for this and go on with it. So there are other things in life, though, that I can look back on in my life and go, these things used to bother me and they don't anymore. Thank goodness, because I choose not to let it bother me. So in some of the things like for my own self, struggling with whatever this virus is that sort of seems to be going around with my friend Marcia and I talked the other day, and she's kind of had the same symptoms. And I'm like, okay, it sucks getting old, I tell you, but I refuse to give up. Went outside today and did some chopping and digging and hauling some dirt. So not as much as I would like to, but I did go out and do something and did some checking up on my stove that I need to put in the house and other things. But where I could have just said, oh, screw it. I really don't feel up to it. No, the small things that I did, went out and checked the chicken, went out and did some other things, watered some plants, did some planning, all good things. And it's what we do in the small steps. So in my spring cleaning of also picking up some things, saying, you know what, I've had this for too long, it needs to go. Now that's outside. Now, what does this have to do? Well, in doing these things around my house and taking care of these things that I should have taken care of a long time ago, my spirit feels better. My soul feels better. Well, wait a minute. I'm just picking up stuff and throwing things away, dealing with stuff that I should have dealt with. Yeah, but in that cleanup, it is cathartic. It feels good. I look in my kitchen now and go, the cabinet I wanted on wheels is now on wheels. It's stable. I've got stuff stored in there. It was almost really, really clean. A couple of spots I need to go back in and go over, but I was tired and ready to be done with the project. But all in all, and I got rid of some other stuff, and I'm like, when you give up and you say, well, I don't know if I can ever do that. No, tackle the little things around the edges and they become big things. And so that's been my motto for this year. And where at other times I haven't been able to tackle the big problem. So what I do is I just work around the edges. Now that also might mean some things. For example, I've had some trigger events here. I will absolutely, be truthful with you. And it has to do with drowning and dying and some very strange, because I've had, two drowning experiences. 4 times almost froze to death. And I'm not lying. I mean, 2-stage hypothermia is not fun to come back from. And it's actually probably 5 times. But when you have gotten to the point where you think the next step here is I'm out of here, I'm freezing to death. I can't stop shaking. I can't get warm, and there's no heat around. And I'm in a world of crap. Well, I've come. I say that I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm not ready to go yet. Is my point. But in that so in my own self, I have to look at things and go, yeah, but all right, that's still some baggage that I'm carrying forward spiritually, mentally, which affects me and my soul and how I feel on the outside. And it has to do with, it's like it's like I'm reliving those drownings. I'm reliving the hypothermia, which sucks. And I live each day with getting overheated. It can be 30 degrees outside and I'll be sweating. So the heat bothers me more now than anything. But And I deal with that all the time, 10, 15 minutes, my temperature rises. I better find a place to sit down. Now, I have learned over the years that, hey, David Castle, Gerald, Millie Cow, is happiness a choice? I think so. And, as I've mentioned before, and good point, Millie Cow, in that, when I was in jail, there were a lot of guys that were down in the mouth all the time. I was just glad I wasn't dead or being raped, and I had it as good as I did. When you're in prison, you're in prison. That's it. But I always look for the better things every day, because to look around, you're on concrete all around you. So that's why I became a trustee. That's why I did my job well, and they responded. I got a better deal through the judge and I didn't have to do anything nasty for it. You know what I mean? But the thing is that, I absolutely believe that happiness is a choice. Now you can, I busted a head off that my foot ads that I've had for 20 something, 30 years, and it was used then, an antique. But it was time for the handle to break, but it was just like, right now at this moment, you got to do this to me when the handle on my other thing just broke. That, okay, so much for Gorilla Glue. But it was my choice whether or not to continue to be pissed off. And I just grumble, 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 put it back up in the shed, and like, I'll figure this out. I'll put the handle back on somehow. I'll put it back together. I'll use some different epoxy or something. If I have to, I will screw it together with with pipe. I'm threatening to do it, and may end up doing it anyway. That pipe strap with a couple of screws to hold the handle on so it doesn't fall off again. Anyway, but to the point, so it's like, well, I can sit here and just piss and moan about it, or I can think of other ways to get around it. But the biggest thing is, don't be pissed off about it. Even though I could really use it soon, it gives me something to think about. But anyway, so my choice is to move forward and to be happy with, well, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to just try that Gorilla Glue on its own, and it's wondrous that it stayed together as long as it did, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Nice test. It was just weird coincidence, anyway. But to the same point though, for my own self, I had to get my engineering self back. I had to get the architect back. I've described this to folks before, and I'll kind of go over it again. In that, because of the splintering, the drugs that they gave me to correct my seizure activity quadrupled my seizure activity. And instead of having just small, petite seizures, I went into grand mal seizures, and I went from driving an automobile, and then within 2 weeks, I was in a wheelchair drooling. And unable to do a lot of stuff. And I lost a lot of information. So when I envision what's happened to me, I'm standing in a room, and there are doors. So it's like a circular, but to the back of me, I'm not sure if there are any doors or if it just kind of is just, like from my peripheral vision around. Anyway, you get the idea. And there are all these doors there. And behind each one of those doors is one of my talents. For example, the architect I've been an architect all my life. I've been drawing cathedrals and designing houses and things and stuff and rooms anyway. And then I went into the engineering phase of things and have designed all kinds of tools and saved companies literally millions of dollars in tooling costs. And, so it's like, but those were locked behind one of those doors that the seizures broke away. Other things like my being in the woods, my tracking abilities and things. So I have to almost force myself at times to go on the river and to go outside in that my back and my body says, I really don't want to do this. But the rest of me says, no, you got to. You have to go do these things because that's one of the doors that got shut. Now, they're not necessarily locked, but some of them have been really tough to open. For example, I had designs and ideas and everything in place for the front porch and the greenhouse, and it just got lost. I mean, gone, should have wrote it down. Yes. Did I write it down? Probably. It's in the back of a book somewhere. But in my cleaning out of old things, I realized now that I've got these other things that were scattered out of my way, I feel better because now I'm making choices and going, this had a reason 2 years ago, or maybe even 6 months ago, or maybe even a week ago. But now I have to look at things differently and go, yeah, but you want to recycle that. Yeah, but not right now. No. We have to get to a point because I've got so much stuff almost to the point of hoarding in that, but I'll use these, I'll put a pot on top of it. I look around and go, holy crap, I got a bunch of that stuff. No more, no mas, no more saving of things until we deal with the things we've already got. Use them, do something anyway. So, but in the spring cleaning, that's also spring cleaning my mind. So it's like, so cleaning the kitchen helps my brain think about being an engineer again in the architecture. I know, ain't that weird? What you say? But it's the stimulation of the nerves and the act of being able to see something to completion, even if it's just emptying a darn ashtray and wiping it out or something, whether it's, picking up something that, well, I don't know. Now, there are a lot of other folks who are a lot more fastidious and things like that. That's okay. But in cleaning up your surrounding, you help to clean your spirit and your soul by also cleaning up those things that cloud your mind. It also means that you can help your spirit from that way too. It's a two-way street in this. When you clean out the things that are just junking up your brain, and for whatever reason, I had to relive this being frozen to death kind of thing, and what that entailed and so forth. Just saying, I had to work through it and just let it go on the other side. And there's fear in there and so forth. I'm dying and I'm 67 and all these other folks my sister has, cancer and other things. And, there is that general old age kind of, well, I'm not going to live forever shit, but it also means that I'm really happy that I woke up today. I'm really happy that I was able to dump the wheelbarrow, go check on the chicken, feed her up, get her eggs. I was really happy to add some more okra and tomatoes to the stew tonight because that really added something to it. I felt good because I went outside and started finishing up the landscape by the back door so that I can finish the foundation for my my porch that's out here. And as in doing so, I realized it's not so far off. I got really close, and for whatever reason, I stopped, but I lost it. One of the doors got closed. Not quite sure what went on, but in cleaning up my brain and cleaning up my spirit, I was beating myself up for not doing this. So the battle between just doing it and the heck with why I didn't do it. Why haven't I done it up to now? It doesn't matter. What matters is I'm doing it now. And I might get done with this video and go out and dig for 10 minutes out and turn on the front porch light and chop some more roots around the front porch. Who knows? I'm not crazy. But the thing is though that I know that every time I do a little something like that, the project gets closer to being done. My friend noticed it right off the bat. Thumbs up, guys. So if you're feeling a little weird and moody, and man, remember Aquarius is in Uranus. Just take that little point of action, if you will. You know, hey, Lady Spitfire, Gerald, Millie Cow, ways, blessings to all you. These are some weird times. I know that on the spiritual level, I don't feel bad, but in an odd way, I feel slightly disconnected, and I'm still working on that one. But I still feel Mother Nature through my feet, and I still feel the Creator, and I still feel the energy of the universe. But it seems like there's a lot of crap going on in the spirit realm, and that I don't need to be listening in on the chatter, if you will, because some of the information has, for me personally, needed to have a little bit more retrospection with, because the bad guys are infiltrating a lot of stuff right now, and a lot of different people having a lot of different spiritual issues. And so when things like that happen, and they've happened to me in the past, the first thing to do is to be self preservation. Make sure you are secure in your own zone. Make sure you got your stuff together, and whether it be protection or whatever. I'm not like holding anything over my head going, oh my God. But I'm like, listen here, guys. I got, you try to send me down the wrong trail, you try to distort my vision of this. If I have to, then I have to be very, very cautious and become the observer, and stay in that observer position, because otherwise you'll get your ass bit every time. If you choose either side, you got to stay in the observer position, because as soon as you throw emotion one way or the other, it changes the outcome, and it also changes what you're observing. So I choose to go, isn't that interesting? I have no particular point of view on this other than, isn't that interesting? Well, what do you think about that? Well, I think it may be a little crazy to some people, but isn't that interesting? Well, what do you feel about the impeachment thing? Well, I'm old enough to have lived through one. I lived through the at 67. I remembered all the things with Nixon and um, all that stuff, and then Bill Clinton, and the cigar, and now it's they pick on somebody else. Okay, so I this is third time for me, in this kind of stuff. So it's like, and they're still playing some of the same games. So how do you feel about this? I'm just sitting back going, history is repeating itself over and over and over again. 40 whatever 1970 was, 50 something, years ago. Hey, gang, they were saying some of the same damn things. Wiretapping, somebody was listening in, other people were breaking in, blah, 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 blah. Pull it forward to the Trump. It's just a different kind of wiretapping and stuff. People are listening in and doing, oh my God, Has it changed a damn bit? Not really. But so do I choose to throw my emotions in this with all the other crazy people? No. I actually think it's kind of funny, because I'm watching this going, some of the rhetoric, I swear to God, did they go back 50 some years ago and reread some of this stuff and repeat it? I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. But to the point, though, of cleaning up your own spirit and cleaning up, doing the spring cleaning thing. The spring cleaning thing to me is like, I'm not going to let that trigger me anymore. Ooh, what? Yeah, I used to have a landmine in my head that when somebody said certain things, my brain went off like a grenade. And so it's like, whoa, maybe, just maybe, just maybe, just maybe, we should be more observant rather than throwing grenades first. It might be, it might be one of us in the other guy. We just need to be careful right now. You know, there are those folks. Let me. How do I put this? There are those folks who would make a mountain out of a molehill still. And it's like I was watching an old Groucho Marx and the Marx Brothers. Oh my God, it's crazy. You know, Harpo was so good, but oh God, it was Harpo, Groucho, and Chico. Chico plays the piano. He does this two piano thing during the movie. The Marx Brothers always did. And oh my God, I forgot how talented Chico was in that also. But uh, and I'm gonna have to go back and just watch it again for his piano playing. But in it, somebody said you're gonna make a mountain out of a molehill, and Grouchy looks at him and says, "Well, that's a pretty good trick if you can do it, but either way, it's really difficult." And I was like, "Well, that's true." So, but if it's a molehill, why would you want to make it a mountain, right? Let's leave it a molehill. So I struck myself because I got moles problems out in the yard that I'm dealing with in my landscaping here, trying to get the side of the house back to where it was. Um, it's the spring cleaning of things. It's finding those things you say I'm going to give it away, whatever it is. Sometimes it's within our own brain. Sometimes it's a feeling. And right now, the Schumann resonance has been doing some really strange things in the background. And I'm always watching the subtext in the background. And down about 36, 38 here these last couple of days, there's been like a double, one at 36 and one about 38-ish. But to the point, there are some very subliminal kinds of things going on. And none of us, there ain't a critter on this planet that has been through this like we're going through right now. At least not any time in recent history. Okay. And so, not to say it's never happened before, but we're going through some, I've talked about this. We are going through cosmic changes. We're getting hit. Recently, there was a really pretty good heavy duty solar flare. There's another 5 point something earthquake down around in the Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic area just today. There's been earthquakes all over, in Alabama, Tennessee, of course, South Carolina. There's a fault line there in South Carolina I've been kind of eyeballing for a long time. Also up along the Canadian border up in there between the United States, Newfoundland. There was a big one out there in the um, on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. They're popping off on there fairly regular. So Mother Earth, she is still expanding. She's still doing her thing, and we're getting bombarded by all this extra stuff. And if all you have to do is before you overreact, you should take the observer point of view and go, wait a minute, something's a little weird today. Just gonna I'm gonna do my chores. I'm gonna do what I need to do, but I'm just kind of like, well, I'm not sure what's going on right now. So I'm just I'm just gonna pay attention. And if I need to react, I will. But I promise not to overreact unless it's something really, really happy. Then yeehaw. But if it's something really crappy, I'm just gonna go I'm going to maintain my composure. So we can do that, and we can make the choice. As Millie Cow said earlier, yeah, your favorite is Harpo. Harpo does a Millie Cow. It's A Night in Casablanca, and it was on Tubi, in the classic section or something. Anyway, but Harpo finds the secret stash of all these artifacts, and he does this little solo um, on the harp. Oh my God, he is great. But yeah, with that, um, yeah, Millie Cow, there is a Harpo, and he plays the harp in that. They always find a spot for Chico and Harpo to play, and when the Marx Brothers did their movies. Anyway, but with the energies and everything that's fluctuating, the magnetics, that, we can go through the whole litany of stuff. I was outside the other night looking up, and I noticed, I said, Orion was sort of over there a little bit more to the south, and it was like right overhead, which is good. That's where it's supposed to be. But, a couple of days earlier, it was a little lower. So I haven't had an Earth wobble update in a while, but trust me, my friends, we're wobbling. There are hot spots showing up underneath the planet. Magma is moving. I know not other people have discussed it, but I've been discussing that the magma is still moving. The centrifugal force of the planet, the magma is moving at different speeds. And when clumps of magma gets on the front side of the Earth, and we get hit with a really good beam of something from the sun, and it takes the magma on this side takes the brunt of it, versus the magma on the backside of the planet. Forgive me, flat earthers, but on the backside of the planet, it's going to not react as quickly. And so, the fact that we are, going through our winter months, but to the Chinese and the New Year, this is actually sort of springtime. And you go out in the yard, and there's all these plants that are coming up right now. Daffodils are popping up. We got greens in the garden. There are other things showing. There's all kinds of life that's popping up. It's almost the end of January, but the Mother Earth kind of feels like it's springtime. And for us down here, it's important that anything I put in the ground now, I got to be ready to cover. Period. That's all there is to it, because spring ain't till March 15th down here, and we've had snow on March 16th in the past down here. So many farmers lost. We lost 2 acres of garden that year, but anyway, had to replant it. But to the point though of your spring cleaning, I'm always saying I'm not the judge of who you are. But go through the junk pile in your head and go, and you got to be honest. You got to talk. Do I really need that little piece of junk? Can I honestly just drop that in the garbage? I can think about, I used to have this really cool thing, but I didn't know what to do with it. It got broke. I gave it away or threw it away or whatever it is. But, thoughts that trigger us. When anytime I see somebody shivering, freezing to death, or dropped into cold water, I have a tendency my brain says, I know how that feels, and it's like sometimes you have to slap yourself spiritually, go, don't go there. But boy, can I attest to that, you know what I'm saying? So, but there are things that we can do within ourselves in our spring cleaning. Is like, we can get rid of the traps. We can get rid of those things that trap us and go, that triggered me in the past. Recognize it, that, wait a minute, I might not be able to get rid of that, but at this moment, but guess what? I recognize it now. Every time something like that happens, I kind of go half-baked, or it triggers me in some way. So my spring cleaning says, later on, I'm gonna fix you. I'm going to work on that. Just, you know, it gives you confidence. It gives your spirit a good boost. And with all this craziness going on, don't we all need a little boost every once in a while? We need our own pat on the back. You know, we need an attaboy and go, you know what? Listen, folks, we've all made it this far and we haven't choked each other. We haven't stabbed one another. I know that goes on in places, but you know, we're still here. We are still members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. We're still here. And through our own choices, hi XX, the one. Thank you so much, the one. Millie Cow, pretty much every day I analyze myself, and it seems like everything I feel can be traced back to another feeling in the subconscious. Yep. Agreed. Millie Cow, we should have coffee sometime. Oh, and to Bob, thank you. I know the stream's been a little choppy, but we've had our internet shut off just for a couple of hours here several times this last week or so. And somebody asked me about Brian Milky Way. Now, I haven't been in direct contact with him for the last couple of days, but we had a show scheduled, but they had internet outages up there where he's at, and it's been spotty down here. So, but anyway, Millie Cow, and that one can lead to something else. It's a mess. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. Because a lot of times that's what I was sort of using that example of the, you know, of the freezing to death thing, Millie Cow. Yeah, coffee, you know, here, let me take a little, and thank you, Bob, for allowing us to have a little. But so anyway, so I'm praying, I'm still praying and hoping and doing all the good things. Y'all come across my mind all the time. I'll be outside digging in the garden or cutting firewood or something. And yeah, thank you, Lady Spitfire. Cheers, Bob. In that there are sparks of divine wonderment when splitting firewood. I mean, I know it sounds crazy. I've been splitting firewood ever since I moved to Georgia, you know, and that was in 1973. So I've been here a long time, and I've been burning with firewood ever since I moved up here. I've put in wood stoves. I've had houses with fireplaces. And when I moved here on my own place, which I've been here almost 40 years, I've been burning with wood ever since. Now I got an electric heater on right now. I'm cheating. But it's supposed to be a little more cold. And I got some more firewood out there to cut. And I'm like, it's not going to be too bad tonight. So I'm cheating tonight. But we had the fire going the other night. And, you know, one of the things is I'm trying to get this other heater in my house. And anyway, and I learned some stuff today, so hopefully the heater will make the transition before winter's over. You know, it's already the end of January. It's still sitting in the damn yard. At least it's paid for. And for those of you who may wonder, it says on the stove, it's a coal burning stove. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute, it's a wood stove. I used to have one like it. Not this quite the same, but it was a potbelly stove versus a long stove. And so it's like, what? And they were like, yeah, this is a coal stove. You can use wood to start the coal, but you can't use wood. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I've been doing some study and some research. And here's the deal. I can't get coal down here in South Georgia, at least not easily. When you burn coal, it burns a lot different, higher temperature, and a lot of sulfur. If you burn wood in a stove, now I know better, and I change my pipes out. Well, if not every year, every other year, but I always take the pipes down and knock them out because I know about a creosote fire. I've had them in the stovepipe before. So the difference is in a wood stove, for your information here, you can burn wood in a quote, a coal burning stove, provided you don't go back and burn coal in it, because it's the difference. Their creosote will collect on the chimney, on the pipe, on whatever it is for the exhaust. And when you burn the sulfur, it can actually mix with the creosote and create a really nasty fire. So, but I don't have coal and I don't intend on getting any, but I got a crap load of firewood around here since the hurricane last year or year before now. But so the trick is you don't change from one to the other. You use one or the other. So I'm like, aha. And I've double checked, I've trickle checked. The folks over in Europe, they know that it's called a dual use. So for example, a wood stove is just a wood stove. I know I'm off on a tangent, but a wood stove is just a wood stove. Do not burn coal in it. But a coal stove can use wood, provided you don't swap between them because of the different gases from the coal to the wood, unless you know what you're doing and you clean out your pipes, kind of stuff, which ain't really hard if anyway. But to the point, I'm not going to be burning coal. So for those of you, and that's going to speed up this little venture of mine to get that stove in here. But it requires me cleaning some stuff up and doing spring cleaning. And I got to have a place to put this stuff that I really don't want to throw away. I mean, for example, I got a couple of speaker stands. They're 90 to 125 bucks a piece. They were really expensive when I bought them, and they go with my big speakers. When I used to do public shows, and I took my speakers and everything, I got PV speakers, and I got 3 different kinds of speakers. But anyway, they're really nice, and cost me about $650 for the speakers and the stands and some of the wires. But anyway, but to the point though, I just can't just put them anywhere. Those, I don't want the speakers to get ruined, even though I don't know when I'm going to use them again. And I don't know when I'm going to use the speaker stands again, but I'm not giving up on that yet. I'm not dead yet, So I got thousands of dollars worth of equipment, but I just can't go out and put it in the rain. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, but in my spring cleaning, I first got to take care of some old business. And in my own spiritual self and with the craziness that's going on, I realized, like Millie Cow said earlier, that it's a really old subconscious thing. And the older you get, you got more subconscious crap you got to kind of have that drags along with you. So I have to realize, wait a minute, that's one of them subconscious crappers. Go away. I dealt with you. Shag off somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Leave me alone. But it will still trigger. Now, I'm still learning. I'm a shaman in training. And so what I'm learning is that, there's that feeling again. So now I can back off and just kind of let it like ride out and just say, well, I'm not going to, I have become a more compassionate observer. Jump in when you need to, but stay the F out when you don't. And that's even in your own stuff. But you got to be honest with yourself. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, listen, I think I was a little crazy there. Gerald, live long and prosper. Thank you, Gerald. Yep, thank you. And you all live long and prosper. Yeah, may the farce be with you as well, for those of you who like puns. But anyway, I'm dragging this out, I know, but it's so nice to have you all here, and I haven't done a video in a while. I've been doing spring cleaning, but I feel much better with the spring cleaning. And where some, like I said, where some things would have been very bad triggers, I just had kind of like I've said in the past, and it really does bear reminding each other, these waves of energy that are coming in. I described it 2 years ago, and I said, find yourself in an inner tube, get in it, get comfortable, because there's gonna be hills and dips and valleys and stuff. But we need to realize that it's just part of the journey. So we can't get freaked out. Oh my God, there's sharks in the water. Of course there are. So minimize your thrashing around. Oh my God, there's piranha. Maybe. Just chill. Don't draw attention to yourself. Help when you need to, be there when you have to, and fulfill as much as you can. If you make a promise, then try to stick to it, okay? To yourself as well. What does it do for us? It gives us strength of character. I walk out my yard and I go, there was a bunch of crap here a month ago. There was a lot of crap here 2 months ago. There was a crap load of crap 3 months ago in my yard. And now I can walk across the yard and not bump into anything, except for the wheelbarrow I left in the middle of the yard. But, but to the point though, I'm also dealing with things in my brain that were sort of associated with those things. Spring cleaning up here, spring cleaning out there. And the net result is, my spirit feels better. So all of us, pick your whatevers. And I know you got them. We all got some quirky shit. We all do, admit it. But my question, my comment to that is that you just must be honest with yourself when maybe I'm a little too quirky. Maybe I could just back off a little bit, or you may need to add a little bit to it. Well, maybe you're not quirky enough. And above all, communicate with yourself. What did he just say? Yep. Have a communication with yourself. Because there are times when I don't know, I'm just lost in this. And I mean, literally, like floating around going, what the heck is going on here in this cosmic stuff? And self has to have a conversation with the other guy. Like David has to have a conversation with Hawkeye and vice versa. Going, yo, Dave, you're floating a little too much. You need to come back down here to Earth. Where at the same point, it might be Dave says to Hawkeye, are you like, so, it's your alter ego. And this isn't a good versus bad. This is the conscious of, well, is this actually better? Or am I slagging off over here? It's not a good versus evil. It's a whether or not, wait a minute, I myself can do better. Or I should not let this bother me as much. You know what I mean? So, and we can all clean up our fringes. Some of the most perfect people I've seen, there was an underbelly of crap. They talked a good line, but sometimes to be around them was like, what? You hear me? And so it's like, all peace among all people. And then they want to go holler at their wife after, some weird circumstances. And so I've been around folks and things and stuff for, anyway. Powwows and folks that travel the powwow circuit, they do a good dance, but boy, when they're off on their woo, sometimes you see the true colors of some of these folks. It's a shame. Anyway, but we can all clean up stuff in our peripheral. If nothing else, then to just tidy up. Not that it's nasty, not that you've done a bad job. That is not my point. My point is, I've done pretty good over here. You know what? I'm gonna spit shine it a little more because I've done good over here. Here's my medal. I've made it this far. Here we go. I'm gonna shine my medal today because I deserve it. I earned it. I've made it this far. And that doesn't mean we should be arrogant about it, but we should be grateful, thankful, and freaking proud that we're still here. After all the nonsense that's been going on, I'm proud to still be breathing, my friends. And thank you all for still being here and around for yourselves, and not just for me, but for yourselves and for each other. Because as you already know, you all interact, and your interaction is different from mine. Although, and I'm sort of a catalyst for it, and I'm absolutely grateful to be able to do that. But my friends, we are still members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. We have made it this far. There are things in the sky above us. There are truths that are still coming out. More people are taking pictures of clouds with things in them, or coming out of them, or going through them. Um, Things about time travel, things about genetics, this corona thingy, Chinese virus, whatever this thing's going on. Listen, every year about this time, there's always a flu epidemic. Now, around here, back in the great flu epidemic in the teens down here in South Georgia, well, actually all over, there were three brothers died within 2 days of each other. I can't remember the date. I used to know it, but the Holland boys are in a buried in a cemetery not too far from here. And a lot of the old cemeteries around, I wondered why there were so many little group cemeteries. It was because of the influenza way back in the day. This has happened before, okay? And so it's like, now, God forbid that it should travel, and that's not my point. But people, oh my God, we're all going to die. Well, back in the day, a bunch of people did, I'm sorry to say. And what we can only do is be as healthy as we possibly can. Worrying about that mess is not going to help. But if you don't have to go to a public place with a crap load of people, don't go. If you can go at a different time of day when there are fewer people there, better off. They're talking about a shortage of masks. Well, okay, a handkerchief will work. I mean, you'll look like a bandit, but okay. So cloth will work with some rubber bands. But the thing is do you have to go to now? Kids that go to school and on the school buses. Oh my God! When I was in school, somebody got the measles, everybody got them. Somebody got the mumps, we all got them. Somebody got the this, we all got it. And let me tell you, now it's like, oh my God, it's an epidemic. Tampa was always an epidemic when it was a certain time of the year. It was either the flu, it was the cold, it was strep throat. It went through this system, and that was in the 60s. This is nothing new. The more you put a bunch of people together in one place, you're going to spread it, and it's going to come back. It's going to mutate. When I worked in the office up at Prestolite, the engineers, somebody would come in. They'd been to Toronto for a week up there. They came back with the flu. Everybody in the plant got the flu within 2 weeks. We were sicker than dogs. And about the time these guys got well, it had mutated and we'd get sick all over again. It was horrible. Flu shots or none, didn't matter. We all got flu shots. We still got sick from different strains coming in because we had folks going to Toronto and Detroit and different places, going down to Mexico and back with with parts that we built. And so they were all the time bringing some kind of flu crap back. I mean, seriously. So it's like, what? So if somebody's traveled, you may not even know it. You went to the grocery store, but a friend of yours, his boss just came back from Chicago. And in Chicago, he was on a plane with some folks that were passing through, but they'd been in Seattle. And the next thing you know, they were all breathing the same air. And if you don't, so minimize your contact. You can choose that, but paranoia ain't one of them. Why do you think a lot of people over in China, you see them walking around, Japan, they all walk around with a mask? They know better. And people in large cities and large areas, they should know better as well. So, thank goodness I'm not around those types of crowds anymore. As far as working at the plant, there were 700 people there. There were people going in all the time. Or people flying in from different places, to visit us, and people from Japan coming over because we made parts for Nissans and Honda. So they were coming to us, and we were going to them. And I mean, it was a mess. So if you think that you can't get it, you don't know who's been to a factory in your area, who has mingled, shook hands with one of the folks in that plant. I'm here to tell you, pay attention. So if you think it can't get you, well, so the best thing you can do is keep yourself healthy. So how do you mitigate it? One of the most important things is keep your stress level down. Do spring cleaning and get rid of the things that may slow you down, keep you slow, keep your blood pressure, your bodily functions, and just don't chill so much that you quit. In whatever duties you may need to perform. But to the point, though, you can go at it with a different point of view. And you can, by all means. Now, I'm not saying you should be a freak about this, because the hand touching thing is a big deal. But if you get close enough to people who are like sniffing and snuffling and stuff, you're going to get some of that. I guarantee. When I worked in the office where I did, it didn't matter whether or not I was shaking hands with anybody. If they touched something and I went up behind them and touched it, and you just can't bark up that. But what you can do is keep yourself healthy. Now, there are people who wash their hands too much. You got to do it. Here's the big thing. If you're out and about and doing stuff, don't go like this a lot. Why? Because you're going to give it to yourself. So if you're out in public, I'll use a thing. I'm not going to try to rub my face in whatever I've been in contact with. So, but then I'll wash my hands so that, okay, I've gone this far. Let me stop here, get a drink. I'll wash my hands in the restroom, because normally I have to pee too. But I'm going to wash off the germs I've accumulated during the trip. And so I don't take them home with me. Or when I get home, I try to wash off. But, like wash your hands. Now, but to the point, though, those are simple things you can do, but without going nutso and without freaking out. Now, if you live in a big city and you live around a lot of people, just be careful. Take your vitamin C. Make sure you got your vitamins up. Make sure you're staying healthy. Do a run. Avoid places where there's mucus. Okay? A lot of sweaty people in a gym. Maybe you should stay home, because they're going to be exhaling this, that, and there's more breath. Maybe you should gym at the house until some of this is over. But my friends, the one says, get this, all you know, hint was targeted disease, H for Hispanic, and the N for, yeah. Hey, David. Yeah, things are Buffett's. Hey, Truth in Me. Let's see, did I miss anybody? No, I don't. I hope not. But anyway, but we need to just be careful. And if for whatever reason, whatever enzyme, whatever our DNA code is, I was watching this. I love old sci-fi, and they were talking about this in the mid 50s, about how this genetic code was being changed so that buffering, so that human beings would be allowed to catch this virus. And I was like, what? It was an oldie goldie, 1957, I think. And I thought to myself, they've known about genetic tampering, genetic engineering they claimed that the aliens did it to us. But here's the thing. If somebody thought that the aliens did it, they probably were thinking that anybody else might end up doing it too. But here's the point. The thoughts have been out there for a long time. We still don't know what they're spraying over us, whether it's good or bad, but we do know it's still happening. We don't know what all these energies are doing from the cosmos. I know there are times like I just feel my right now the ringing in my ears is starting to pick up a little bit, but earlier it was driving me batty, and I was just like just I just got to sit here and um it's like in the old days when when TV stations used to go off the air and there was that tone doo with the Indian doo. It's like that in my head. And it gets danged annoying. So there are times when I just gotta like incoming message from the big giant head, if you understand that reference. But to the point right now is like it's sort of fluctuating. It was quiet for a while, and I looked on the Schumann and it was sort of quiet as well. Now, um, I got not a clue what this stuff is doing to us, but I know damn well it's affecting every each and every one of us. So awareness is the key. I'm just I just gotta sit back and like there are times when I'm just okay, and I'm not trying to be defeated. I just have to put fold my arms, go, all right, this whatever this is, just, it'll go by. I don't want to ignore it, but at the same time, I can't get involved in it. It's like, whoa, I feel funky, and this arm wants to go up here, and the other one I can't pick up. What the hell's going on here? I woke up the other day and it felt like somebody had driven nail through my hand, and I had a bad accident years ago where that's about what happened, and it hurt so bad my whole arm was numb, and I was like, what the hell? What triggered that? My other hand was hurting almost in the same spot. Just really weird. But it's like better now. But what spurned it? What kicked it off? What triggered my hands to do that, and my arms and I lots of other stuff. I can go, well, I was outside working, but this wasn't that. But the thing is that all I could do was say, okay, I got to let it pass. I can't keep harping on, oh my God, it hurt so bad. Yeah, it did. And it's still sore. But I couldn't focus on it because that gives it energy. I've realized that of my shaman training, focus on why it's whatever it is. The more you spend time on that, it's like the wrong energy. To question something, yeah. But do you have to question it to the point that you're so freaking obsessed that it drives? No, no, my friends, we need to back off and go. Some, let me. This came to me the other day, and for those of you, you may not, hunt or whatever, but in the old days, and there are still folks who squirrel hunt. In the old days, folks said, this guy says, well, I went out hunting. And the old timer says, yeah, what'd you do? And he goes, well, I traipsed through the woods trying to shoot me a squirrel for dinner. I said, man, every time I'd get a beat on one, that squirrel was gone. He goes, I'd try to chase him down. And the young buck looks at the old timer and he said, what did you do today? And he goes, I sat up underneath the big oak tree and took me some lemonade and shot 5 squirrels. Because you have to sit still. You have to let them come out. You try to chase them down. So he was hunting so hard, he chased the game away. And the old timer sat under an oak tree, which is how you hunt squirrels, by the way. Find yourself a tree and sit under it and just have your gun ready, and just sit there and be quiet. And if you don't see any activity, but you'll sit there for 30 minutes before you'll see something move. And the thing is, though, so in hunting for the answer, sometimes you just have to sit up underneath an oak tree. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can hunt too hard. You can look too deep. You can and you won't find anything. So, and by sitting and, you're still participating. All right. So it's not like, how do I put this? You don't give up. you become part of your surroundings so that you can observe, and you'll never observe a squirrel until you become a part of their surroundings. You know, you go out hunting for this or that. Why do people wear camouflage, for God's sakes? So if they sit still long enough, the animals can't see them. But if you're quiet enough, you don't need camouflage. You know, you need a little bit if you know what you're doing. So, but to the point though of your own self and of your own spiritualness, you know, always remember it's nice to go down them rabbit holes, but you can get your god dog head stuck. You can stick your head in a rabbit hole so much you're like an ostrich. Think of them Wile E. Coyote cartoons, with old Wiley's head stuck down in the rabbit hole trying to push out. Have we become have some of us become Wile E. Coyote? I mean, I know I have had the Wile E. Coyote head stuck in the rabbit hole syndrome. Okay, I am guilty of it, but I'm also realized that sometimes it. And here's the reason: it takes you away from all the other rabbit holes. If you're only looking for, and back in the day, I don't know if Lowry Park still has it, but they used to have a rabbit place. And the rabbits dug dens and over here and over there. So you'd go like chase the rabbit into one hole. He comes out on the other like Brer Rabbit, Hey, Brer Fox. Hey, Brer Bear. Look at me over here, over here. And please don't throw me in that briar patch. So, because that's what they want you to do, throw the bunny in the briar patch because he knows where the trails are. Um, anyway, that's beside the. But with that said, though, but you can get your head stuck, you can get your shoulder stuck. So, but if you notice the rabbit hole and kind of look down and go, but there are other rabbit holes. So if you only in one direction, how can you know what else is going? There might be 50 rabbits come up out of these holes looking at you, staring at you, going, he got his head stuck. So if you don't think that the evil ones are thinking the same thing, if we let these people go down this hole far enough, they won't be able to see anything else going on. Oh, holy shite in a bag. You know what I'm saying? Crap in a bag, my friends. So, in our going forward this year, I'm still positive. Got a lot of stuff done here since the first of the year. A lot of it's just up here. Like, look, the next time you go by whatever that is that you said you were going to do it this time. Yes, master. To myself. But there are results, good results. I feel more positive. My soul feels better. My spirit feels better. Ready to take on the next one. I wanted to go out and do a fire tonight, but we've got a little bit of rain and it's a little too damp still to do a fire, but maybe tomorrow night. But anyway, my friends, I love you all. I do. I'm going to look back through some of let's see, David Castle. Which way? Oh, which way did he go, George? Which way did he go? Which way did he go? I got you. I used to feel like a squirrel trying to get a nut. Now I have plenty. Pure Love Ascension, how are you? Tennessee Tuxedo. Yep, absolutely. Hey, Tennessee is his friend Chumley. I played Dr. Chumley in the movie in the play Harvey. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, Millie Cow says, I need to remember this. Don't chase the squirrels. Take a break from my mind. Don't overthink things too much. Absolutely. I am so guilty of that, Millie Cow. We really need to have coffee sometime. But to the point, though, about that ultraviolet flame, was that you that did a clip? Anyway, you're most welcome. Thank you. Even if you weren't, okay. But Force pure love ascension. How are you? Forcing anything just doesn't work. It doesn't. Truth to me, would have saved a ton of heartache knowing what the intent of the man buying me drinks. To get your, drunk. We all get hurt not being honest with intent. Absolutely. Um, you all inspire me, by the way. You absolutely do. I know I've been a little quiet here these last couple of weeks, but with the energies going around, and it was almost like, and I've noticed it with a lot of other people, other folks, just like, at the moment, I don't have anything really I want to say. I've said a lot of stuff last year about, this and doing that and changes and love and intent and stuff. But, through the season, though, and there's been some really weird energies, and we all can agree with that one. But that, as much as I thought I had all my little triggery subconscious things dealt with, there were odd little things in the junk pile I really wasn't looking at until I start scraping away around the edges. And I go, oh, holy crap. I've been looking for this hoe for the last 6 months. It was buried under a couple of 2x4s and a thing. And I moved the 2x4s to do the cleaning. And all of a sudden I realized, whoa, shit. It's been sitting right here the whole time I was looking for it, but I'd covered it up with I'm just going to put this here. I'll put it up later on, and then put something else over the top of it, and you cover it up in layers. So when I start working around the edges, I'm looking at stuff and going, look what I found, holy cheers. You know what I mean? So in dusting around in your cobwebs, and making sure you don't have your head stuck somewhere where it really doesn't belong, if you know what I mean. That you allow yourself to observe the other rabbit holes. Whack-a-mole. You know what I mean? Whack-a-mole. Okay, but anyway. Baking soda for teeth. Absolutely, Breaking Dawn. When I had teeth, I brushed with baking soda all the time. Hi, Bob. Thank you, Truth and Me. Check out 432 Hertz on YouTube if Aliens Changed. Oh, the one, as you bring it up. I have been fiddling with the 432. I brought it up in another video, but since you brought it up, I've got two guitars over here, and they're both tuned flat. Now, I picked a spot, and I first went and did 432 on the internet and tuned my string to that. And then I found out that it was on my normal little clip on my guitar thing, that it was at this certain point just one large notch flat. And I went, So I don't have to get on the internet to find 432 anymore. I just tune all my strings to the same point. So instead of it being right at the top, it's at like a 10 o'clock position, and there's another one. Anyway, it's the first big notch below flat, which 432 hertz is flat from 440. Okay. 440 is a sharper note. So I realized, oh, holy crap. All I got to do is tune to the same spot on both guitars. They're both tuned, but they're tuned to a more 432. And the D sounds better. All the notes sound better. And even when I bring the capo up to the 3rd fret, it's still clean. I'm like, oh my God, I always had trouble, with getting the first 3 strings. There was always like somebody always seemed off. Not anymore. 432 takes care of it. It's great. So if you're trying to wonder how can you get there, and there is some great music. It isn't as nicky. I don't know how else to put it, but XX the one, yes. Um, yeah, baking soda for the teeth. Missed you too, Truth in Me. Yeah. Um, says I took a step back for about a week here and there, and yes, really weird energies. Yep. Lady Spitfire says that's the way I am around people. There isn't anything I have to say, so I'm very quiet, shy person, almost awkwardly quiet. And recently, um, it seems that there are a lot of folks who have become awkwardly quiet, but it's because of the energies, and it's because I don't know. I think for me is like, I just need to ride this out a little bit here. Do I have anything to say? I can yak on for hours, as you all know. But is it really is there a subject worth talking about? Or should I just, get on here and gab like I'm doing now? But at the same time, I've been doing my own little, internal spring cleaning. And I think a lot of us, for whatever reason, we are. And it could be that Aquarius is in our anus, who knows? Um, Jin Chaloy, Chalu, um, or it could be Shallow, depending. I had some Cajun friends, and sometimes how they pronounced a name was different with uh, the spelling. Yeah, Lady Spitfire says, I get tired of asking about the weather, so I just keep quiet. Yeah, understood. Um, the one says, yes, many ascension channels. Check out Awakening, your channel, and Mastering Alchemy. Yep. Millie Cow says, I'm a writer, not a talker. Millie Cow says, if I could pause time, wait, it jumped on me. If I could pause time for a minute or so, whatever I need to say, something, I'd be a lot more eloquent and clear. You have, Millie Cow, you have put some absolutely wonderful things down. All y'all have. At some point or another, there's all y'all have made some very good, astounding, and very welcome comments, I gotta say. Gerald, guitar, do you like Roy Gallagher? Gerald, I that name doesn't ring a bell at the moment. Roy Gallagher. I'll try to remember that. Actually, there was a very, let me give you a tidbit of information because I'm an old fart and I used to work in radio. Do you know why they changed it to 440? It was because the AM radios, the modulation back in those days. Now, a lot of stuff has happened since then, but they couldn't play the music. It sounded muddy. And the only way they could figure it out was they upped the frequency slightly so it would work with the AM modulation. Okay. And so, but that was way back in the day, and a lot's happened with the airwaves since then, and radios, transistors, and blah, blah, blah. But their primary thing was because they wouldn't transmit properly. Now, you can take that for what it's worth. But as an old DJ and stuff, the folks back in the day were like, yeah, it sounded like crap, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so they made a decision to. Now, did it mess with our DNA? Did they know more about that? They probably did. Okay. Um, but the biggest reason was because of money. They wanted to sell records and so forth. And the 440 sounded better. I mean, it was a piece of steel needle. Think about this. And 440 was better. They claimed anyway. Uh, there are a lot of good artists out there that have, you know, I say not many people have heard. And just, one of these days I'm going to break out my guitar and do something with it. Hong Kong Phooey, absolutely, Gerald. Um, Truth to be, yeah. Well, it says I pulled up New Moon. This DuckDuckGo. Okay, so I'm waiting for the page to load back up. Oh, come on, guys. Seriously? We got some lag time going on. So at the top of this, at DuckDuckGo, the top line says the new moon on Friday, January 24, 2020, at 4 degrees 21 minutes Aquarius is squaring Uranus. This is a sign of unexpected changes. Well, if I had an Aquarius in my anus, yes, I would expect some changes, like how I sit down and my mood swings. I'm sure I would change my point of view. Uh, Lily Cow says, when writing, I spend time to word my thoughts as clearly as possible. I can always go back and edit too. I like that, Lily Cow. Me too. Um, oh, I'm not arguing with you, the one about the DNA and the alien thing. I'm just saying there was at the time back then there was a I'm just saying that was their excuse they gave. Okay. But anyway, I'm agreeing with you. It's horrible. That's why my instruments are tuned down. But um, don't forget the whatchamacallit. All right, folks, listen. I think you all are absolutely marvelous. The thing is when we are aware of the things that we can fix, then we fix them. Like me and my guitars, I can choose to tune down, and the music is much more pleasant for me, for my soul, for my heart, and for anyone who is around it. Then, because I have taken the time to do something about it. So remember every day, remember all the times that we have the opportunity to do something better, a better tone of voice. Maybe we stop for a second. Now, was one of the world's greatest for sticking my foot in my mouth really quick and then having to spit out toenails and dirt. So, sorry, I try not to read. Millie Cow, when you tune your guitar to 432, do you use equal temperament or fair temperament? I'm sorry, that's over my head. I know that I use the same spot for each of the notes that I do. And it sounds great. I love it. I mean, I've tuned back up the first E, the high E sounds too twangy, I mean, it just, since I've been using the 432 lower method, now I know it's not exactly 432, it's just really close, but it ain't high pitched and way up there. It's so much more mellow. Um, I'm certain that I could be a little bit more anal about it to try to get it perfect, but just tuning flat seems to work so good. And that first big notch, it just seems to work. It sounds good. It feels good. My next thing, I'll compare it to what the 432 actually is and see if I'm close. But I'd already done this a couple of years ago and had a little notch on the thing. So, but anyway, but I don't know about the temperament, whether equal or fair. Lady Spitfire, you miss cameras with film. Kind of, sort of, yeah. Um, perfect integrals or evenly divided 12 note scale. um, yeah, 432 heels are DNA. Tooth Me said, David, I still need to work on this every moment. I need to kiddos challenges. Yeah. You're learning the guitar? Very good. Yeah, missed the camera with film. Yep. Millie Cow says the guitars sound better tuned below E standard, drop C, for example. I'm open to the idea of 432, but I don't know what I think about it. Millie Cow says I can explain fair versus equal temperament. Give me a minute. Um, okay, I'll have some coffee. Yeah, it hurts my fingers too, but you got to knuckle through it. You got to develop calluses on your fingers. You have to. Yes, it hurts. You got to do it. Does it hurt? Every 3 days you got to play. It's like I need to play this evening because I haven't played in a couple of days for my fingers. Um, but if you wait and well, my fingers still hurt, you'll never build up calluses. And it's one of those things. Well, I had calluses so thick years ago because I used to play 2 or 3 times a week. And I'd play on the weekends at parties and cast parties and places and bars and stuff. And anyway, used to play a lot back in the day. So it was nothing for me to play guitar for 3 or 4 hours, and my fingers would just start to be a little on the tender side. I play for 30 minutes now, and I'm like, yow, but you gotta build your calluses up. You gotta stick with it. If you don't, you'll never get there, and it'll always hurt. You gotta reach a point. Equal temperament spaces, each note the same distance apart. This gets the ratios very close and allows you to play in any key, and it still sounds good. But if you tune a piano for perfect ratios, it only sounds good in one key, and the notes aren't evenly spaced. Truth of Me says there are finger protectors. Now, Millie Cow, you know a bunch more about music and those things than I do, or I understand sort of what you're talking about, but that's over my pay grade as far as that is concerned. But I can tell you from a playing standpoint, having tuning down just feels better. The guitar sounds better. It just does. And I use the same note, so the same space. So in my opinion, I think the answer would be there. I don't change anything with the guitar, only in how I tune it. So wouldn't the measure still be the same? I'm asking in a kind of stupid way, but anyway, um, rays from God are coming in strong and is to ascend humans to fifth dimensional crystalline light beings. Reptilians are trying to stop it. Millie Cow. So if you turn your string and to the rest by ear based off of the string, then I think that would be fair temperament. Oh, I use a tuner, but So if you tune a guitar, it's always the fifth fret, fifth fret, fifth fret, fourth fret, fifth fret, right? So, but the thing is so that you are tuning by ear, yeah, but you're trying to get it as close. But I use a tuner, but still use my ear and go. I can tell when something's slightly out, and I'll go, "Yep, it was the other night. Everything's." I'm Breaking Dawn was trying to play, and I said, "Let me have that thing. Something's off." And sure enough, that it needed a slight adjustment. There were new strings on an old guitar, and it needed to they need to be tweaked. But anyway, so but to the point though, I'm assuming, Millie Cow, that tuning the one to that frequency and everything else to the same. I think that Millie Cow says if you tune each string according to your tuner, it will be equal temperament, and you'll notice the fifth fret doesn't perfectly match the next string. It can't be perfect. That's true because there's errors in how they put the frets in. And it also error in slightly how you move your finger on it. But anyway, but I've noticed though, Millie Cow, that when I tune closer to 432, the fifth fret does match more than when tuning to the 440. Interesting. By ear, it sounds better. Lady Spitfire said, I found a map of the Etowah River about 20 minutes from me, but it shows the magnetic meridian line and the true meridian line. I'm sure it has it on all the maps. Maybe not on all maps, Lady Spitfire, just for 10 cents on that one. Millie Cow, all I can tell you is I've been playing guitar for a long time, and I am not a pro by any stretch. I'm basically an old folk singer, period. Sing a few other kind of tunes, but I'm not a great person with bar chords, for example. I'm not a great person with any kind of lead fancy stuff. I'm not that kind of guitar player, but I can say that tuning to the 432 ish thingy sounds so much better. When I slide the fret with the capo down to the third fret to play some songs, it's clean. It doesn't need any weirdness. I'm like, I love this. So yeah, try it, y'all. Um, they come to a point on the Etowah. I wonder if it's a special kind of place. It's very possible. I've been around the Etowah a little bit, Lady Spitfire, and there were some strange places. The Indians picked it for a reason. You know what I'm saying? They weren't stupid in a lot of ways. The Etowah Mounds and all of that. Them folks knew things. They followed their heart. But anyway, all right. It's been an hour and 40 minutes almost, my friends. And yes, absolutely. And one of these days, Lady Spitfire, it'd be really cool if I could get up to your area and you show me around, or maybe I show you around. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, have coffee and go visit some of these places. I'd love to go jump in a stream with you. I've been very lucky over the years to be able to find spots because I just follow my instincts. I mean, me and my brother, we found some places up around Dahlonega that nobody knew about. We actually found gold in some of the streams up there, just little small pieces, but it's really exciting when you find it, gold live and in the woods, in you know what I mean. Anyway, Black Elk Speaks. Um, I don't know about the video, but I have some books that I have concerning Black Elk and some of the other to me, great chiefs and medicine men and Native American peoples. But yeah, I'm Black Elk. Yeah, absolutely. Right to the rocks, creeks are flowing again. Yes, Lady Spitfire, the river is finally up, and there's water in the backyard again. I've been digging a well downhill from here, and I ran out of water in my uphill well, and it's like now I went down and checked it the other day, and I got water just 3 or 4 feet below the surface, and it's like sweet time to go back to digging the well even deeper. But anyway, it's a shallow well, supposedly for the garden and other stuff. But hey, water is water. And around here, if it's 15 foot deep and without any local contamination, it's been good to me. I'm not dead yet. And there's a lot of clay around here. And right now I'm digging through the clay, and so the water's got it looks milky when it comes out. It's because it's got this clay in the water, and it is the type of clay. Folks around here have been eating clay for years. I get it in my water every time I drink it. So it's like I don't have the kidney issues I used to have. I don't have other issues I used to have. And you've heard me talk about the get rid of plastics out of your system. If you're still drinking out of plastic bottles and stuff, oh, please stop. Please, please, please do yourself a favor. When you find out that, my arthritis is still better, and, hey, I can only say that, I drink out of stainless steel, and there are a few plastic items that I use for, I got a plastic water container thingy, the Coleman thing to take camping and stuff. But as far as, plastic bottles all the time, nah, no, 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 no. Y'all got to change. So do your spring cleaning. Look through your own little stuff in your head. Get rid of the trinkets that may be distracting you from actually getting something. I don't know. Maybe you don't need, maybe you're already working in a concrete way. Good. But make sure that if you do have distractions, deal with them. You don't have to smack them in the ass. You don't have to beat them up. You don't have to, but you can say, hey, I see you. I'm aware of you. I'm aware now that I got my head out of one big rabbit hole. I see all the other rabbit holes. And now I'm going to be like that squirrel hunter and sit under the tree and see what pops up. Stay wary, my friends, not weary, but wary. Deja vu. Uh, yes, thank you, Truth to Me. Yeah, we really need water down here bad. Now, the drought ain't over by any stretch, but we got water in the backyard, and and it's good to feel that. And the wells uphill, and so that's all positive. And so one of the things that I got to do is I got to get this well downhill dug while I got water uphill, because then once I get into the anyway, I won't have to worry about the drought so much. um, uh, Although I still have 2,000 gallons of rainwater. But anyway. Millie Cow says, I think David is saying new stuff. Now that was weird. YouTube got stuck in a time loop. Uh, we're all in a time loop here, Millie Cow, I swear. Uh, yeah, Truth of Me says, I have weird stuff that happen all the time. Oh, the Zulu shaman, Credo Mutwa. Yeah, he's got some interesting things to say. Now, I y'all know my opinion about eating other people and stuff, but folks down in other cultures in different countries, they got their own way of thinking of stuff. I mean, the Plains Indians, some of them, I don't want to get this wrong. It was either the Blackfeet or the Blackfoot. I'm not sure. I think it was the ones that were in Minnesota. Anyway, that all the other Native Americans, they were like them folks eat their horses, they eat dogs, they'll eat each other, they'll eat their enemy, and I'm like, what? So, but that was way back in the day. But even the other tribes knew who those folks were, but I can't remember which it was, Blackfeet, Blackfoot. But to the argument, though, there was tribes and the Aztec warriors, to kill another warrior and literally eat part of him was like tradition. It was like, and many Mexicans still do it. I've talked about it before in a video, and that they have kill a goat, and they do it humanely if killing is killing, but they drain the blood out and they'll drink the fresh warm blood, and sometimes they'll cut off different animal parts, or when they open them up they'll eat part of the liver or something. It's very high in protein and all that kind of stuff, but people say, oh my god, you ate it raw. What's sushi? Just saying. I don't particularly like sushi, but well, you don't like sushi? Well, if I wanted raw fish, I'd just go out and catch some and eat it. But if anything's been sitting around, if you didn't just catch that fish and cut it up and serve it to me, then I'm not eating it. Why? Because I don't know how long they've had it in the freezer or on the ice or whatever, and 6 hours after you catch a fish, you put it on ice, it starts degrading right then. So unless you're going to catch that fish, kill it, skin it, and then feed it to me, it's just raw fish. Okay. But this idea, sorry guys, cook it for me now, simply because there's stuff in them, anyway. But there is essentials, and so, but to say that no, women look tasty but against the law, hey Cherry, how are you? Yeah, got that right. Raw fish is not sushi, it is maki. Oh, okay, but you get what I'm talking about. Oh, sushi is rice and veggie. Okay. See, I don't know enough about it, but I get your point. Thank you for clarifying that for me. And I'm not too much on the sushi part either, but anyway. The idea, though, that different cultures do different things is just, what the old timers used to do around here back when they, did split open hogs and stuff, and they would eat certain parts raw, and they would give, Granny's got an ailment, give her a part of the liver because she needs to keep her her strength up, and so for a million years man's been on this, what I mean, been on this planet for a while. There are certain customs and certain things. Just like that Indiana Jones movie, I think it was the first one, I think, when they serve them monkey brains. It's like certain parts of the world that's it could be a delicacy. I ain't eating it, but there are folks who do. And one of the things that I, as a kid, grew up on, and a lot of folks wouldn't eat it, was beef heart. What? Yeah, beef heart. What do? They grind it up and put it in bologna. Because if somebody said, what? You're eating beef heart? Yeah, but good bologna, it says beef. What? There are scraps in there. Yeah, but sometimes it's the heart and little pieces of the liver and some other things, a couple other organs. But the thing is though that, but beef heart, well, it's got all the muscle and it's this. You used to slice it up and eat it. I'm cook it first, but anyway, but to the point though, I even did a science experiment one time with a beef heart in front of the class, and even the nun, she was like, and it was in the book. She said, pick a science experiment in your book. I did, and my grandfather, he was able to procure a beef heart from the local butcher place thingy, and I brought it in. I was describing the ventricles and everything, and the poor girls, some of the guys were passing out going, I can't believe you're holding up this beef heart. And I'm like, well, my granddaddy's a butcher, and my dad is a meat cutter. So it didn't bother me. But I thought about it, and here was this beef part sitting there, and I took it home, and I was like, now what are we going to do with it? Pop says we're going to slice it up and eat it, and I was like, what? He goes, yeah. What do you think's in bologna? What do you think's in some beef sausage? I don't know. Well, he goes, these are parts that people don't really like to buy the heart. It freaks them out. So we have to chop it up and put it in other stuff. And it ends up in bologna and hamburger. And really? Yeah, you eat beef heart all the time. You just don't know it. Pig's heart, what? Well, maybe not pig heart so much, but yeah. So when you're eating parts, that's part of the parts you're eating, when you're eating that kind of thing. So, but anyway, but customs though that, I don't agree with them, but I could kind of sort of get where they're coming from. It's still gross to me, but it's what they did and it's how they grew up. It's what they learned. And hey, as long as they're not doing it with some kind of like, I don't know. Well, shooting and killing anything and eating it is really not the natural ordered things, but it's sort of or the natural order around here. Captain Beefheart, yeah. I grew up eating heart and liver and kidneys of all animals. Mechanically separated chicken, yeah, right. Truth to me, some places people eat the eyes and testicles. Yep. The first time I ever heard of mountain oysters, it was like, how do you get oysters in the mountains? Bye, Millie Cow. I'm out of here too. Have to, David, I have one plate of 600 videos. Okay. Thank you, the one that always gave a prayer to the animals. Exactly. I'm going to close with this little bit too. It's been almost 2 hours, for goodness sakes. But truth for me, you're right. And I told this to my adopted grandson, I don't know, about 5 years ago, and it was his first time going out hunting deer. And I told him, I said, listen, I said, the Native Americans, they fasted for the first, before they went out. They said a prayer, and it was always that if the animal will give itself to you, it will look at you and say, yes, if you ask Creator, show me an animal, that's willing and so forth. And he goes, Pop, he said, this 8-point buck walked out, and he goes, I was going to shoot it, and something told me. He said, wait. And this other deer walked out, and he goes, Pops, it looked right at me. It looked right at me, and I knew I could shoot that deer. And he goes, it was so weird. And I go, yeah. He goes, it just stood there. And I said, yeah, see what I mean? But he went to the woods with intent. He wasn't out there to murder. He was like, I'm not just going to shoot anyone. I'm not going to, And it literally, he said, Pops, it looked at me, and it was like it said, okay. And he goes, and he brought me some of the meat back then. But anyway, but to the point, the Native Americans, if they build a teepee or they build a whatever, they always prayed to the plant, to the tree, to the shrub before you pick a plant, a leaf off of something. Say thank you to the plant before you pick it and afterwards, But anyway, that's just respecting the universe. So my friends, you all are learning, you're passing it around, you're sharing this information, and you all are so blessed. The ones to pick up spiders and capture flies and then let them go outside. Yeah. Well, my outside is inside sometimes, but I get what you mean. My friends, I close always with a prayer, and I honestly mean it. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the wonderments from the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will accept and receive the healings, the blessings, and the knowledge from the universe. And again, I say, I pray that each and every one of you will accept, receive, and share the healings, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. And may each one of you continue to be at peace. And when you think you ain't got a friend, remember, we're out here, okay? When things are getting a little tough and you don't hear from somebody, we're still out here. We are still members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. Whether I'm not on, or Milky Way, or Breaking Dawn, if we're quiet, we're still here. And know that Truth in Me, and Gerald, and the One, and Millie Cow, who's gone, and all y'all out there, we're still here. You're never alone. We are not alone. We're still a group, but it is good to come together and have a little party. Thank you, Bob. It was a little jumpy tonight, but I think we made it through. So peace and love, cosmic hugs to all y'all. And until next time, I promise I'll try not to make it so long. Thank you, the One, from being on DSAHK. Yes. And cheers, everybody. To the 72, I always send my prayers. To the 72 plus, us sideliners, y'all keep up your mission work. It's important. It's important that we continue to support each other. So great to see all of you. Blessings, my friend. Until next time, keep it between the ditches. Remember, small steps in the right direction will eventually get you there. Truth in Me, it's always good to see you. Gerald, Breaking Dawn, always. Millie Cow's gone, I know. Let's see. Gerald, go back up. Cherry, if you're still with us, it's good to see you again as well. Lady Spitfire, if you're around. Truth in Me. Yeah, it'd be great to get up there around the Etowah Mounds and up in there if you're still there, Miss. But anyway, we'll talk at a future time. And Jen, thank you so much. Cheers, hugs, blessings, y'all. Keep up the good work. Till next time, TTFN from South Georgia. It's a clear night outside, nice and chilly and cold. Just the way we like it this time of year. Blessings, everybody. See you. Cheers.